You can spend months engineering a brilliant business strategy. The market research is pristine, the projections are solid, and on paper, the plan looks infallible. But the moment it hits the real world, the whole thing seizes up. When this happens, leadership usually hits the panic button. They rewrite the strategic roadmap, pivot the product line, or start replacing the executives who ran the project. But the engine stays broken. Desperate, they pivot to HR initiatives. The break room gets a ping pong table, Fridays feature mandatory pizza parties, and the walls are plastered with glossy posters about teamwork. None of it works. These companies fail to save themselves because they are trying to fix a structural failure with cosmetic bandages. They treat deep systemic flaws as minor aesthetic issues. Think of your business like this model. Culture is your organization's operating system, the foundational code determining how everything runs. If this base code is riddled with bugs, a brilliant strategy doesn't matter. The foundation rots, causing the entire structure to collapse. Fixing this requires a specific type of leader, a culture architect. You cannot talk a new operating system into existence. You have to write the code through consistent, deliberate daily behavior. Writing this base code starts by stripping away the vague corporate buzzwords. Words like excellence and innovation mean nothing on their own. Instead, a team needs 3 to 5 rigid, non-negotiable rules of engagement. For example, rather than telling your team to have integrity, you establish a specific behavioral standard. We debate fiercely in private, and we align completely in public. Without absolute clarity on what winning looks like and exactly what behaviors are unacceptable, a team will naturally drift toward the path of least resistance. This drift reveals a harsh truth about leadership. Your organization's actual culture is defined entirely by the absolute worst behavior you are willing to tolerate. To maintain a high-performing system, leaders must enforce these base codes without hesitation or exception. The rules apply to everyone, every time. A true architect protects the behavioral standards of the unit above all else. That includes removing a top-performing employee if they consistently break those rules. The standard must survive the individual. Once the base code is written, the system requires constant maintenance. An architect doesn't wait for the machine to break down. They run continuous real-time diagnostics to catch errors early. The traditional corporate annual review is far too slow for this. Instead, architects borrow a tool from the military, the After Action Review, or AAR. An AAR is a structured, rapid debrief held immediately after an event to analyze what happened and how to improve. The AAR works because it strips ego out of the equation. It prioritizes objective truth and extreme ownership, making immediate course corrections possible. To execute this, the architect must build an environment of psychological safety. In this environment, pointing out a flaw or providing harsh feedback signifies respect for the mission. When every person in the room feels safe enough to look leadership in the eye and say, "This plan is failing in real time," the organization achieves true resilience. The system adapts before it crashes. Even with excellent communication, a buggy incentive system will ruin your output. If you reward the wrong metrics, you get the wrong behaviors. Look at this network. If you only reward individual sales, people hoard resources, severing ties to peers. You create self-interested mercenaries. To build a unified system, actively reward behaviors supporting the collective mission. The resilience of these connections determines the system's strength. This means you celebrate the employee who stays late on a Friday to help a struggling teammate cross the finish line, giving them the exact same recognition as your top solo performer. This simple shift in incentives alters the entire psychology of the team. They stop viewing their colleagues as competitors and start viewing them as vital components of their own success. This establishes a state of shared fate. When the team fails, everyone analyzes the breakdown together without pointing fingers. And when the team succeeds, the victory belongs to the entire unit. Look back at that machine. When the underlying operating system is fully optimized, the gears don't seize up, executing with fluid, frictionless precision. There is a famous saying in business that culture eats strategy for breakfast. But a true culture architect ensures that both culture and strategy are sitting down to eat at the exact same table. A leader's legacy consists of the self-sustaining unit they build. Long after the strategies and quarterly metrics fade, the standards and behaviors left behind define the architect's success. If you were to walk away from your organization tomorrow, what is the single cultural standard that would survive your absence?